Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on this really nice cabochon necklace, and I'm using a 25mm round cab and a 13 by 18mm oval cabochon. So these are stones and they are the flat back. And a while ago we did a video on how to bezel these because it's a little different than doing a stone that has, you know, the edges like a crystal, so that it grips onto. So it's a little different making them, but we did a ton of them, even some odd shaped ones. And I had sort of showcased this necklace as an example in that video, and so many of you wanted me to make it as a video, so here I'm going to be doing it. I know it's been a while, but you know, I try to get to everything, but I really love the way it came out. So here are all the bezeled cabochons. Here we made the goddess pendant from bezeled cabochons as well. So this is a really cool thing if you want to use a cabochon and you're not sure how to do that. So I'm going to link the video down below in the description box to the actual bezeled cabochon video, where it goes into super detail on how to, you know, get the right amount of beads to go around and how to get the right amount of beads to cover the back so that the stone stays in. I will go through everything on this video, but it's not going to be as detailed, so you can always look at this one. I'll link this one as well. I'm also going to put up a graphic sometime through the video, a clip that will give a list of several different cabochon sizes and the starting Delicas that you will need to, you know, cover that particular cabochon. Okay, so I'm going to clear this off and okay, let's get a materials list going. So today's video is going to be making this particular colorway, so that I'm going to give you all the colors for this, and the other one I will put in the description box below the video. All right, so you'll need a 25mm round cabochon, and this is what it looks like not beaded, so flat on the back. This is a rose quartz. And then you'll need a 13 by 18mm oval cabochon, and this is a glass cabochon that looks like an opal, and it is from Eureka Crystal Beads. And the one we're going to use today is actually from the Ethereal Opal collection, which is was their most recent collection that was curated by Gina from Orchid and Opal Beaded Jewelry. So I'll link that down below so you can take a look at the beads from that collection if you like, but they're on the website as well. Or use any 25mm and 13 by 18mm that you have. I've got a Delica here. I've got actually two of them, one in a color, one in gold and one in a color. I've got a 15-0, an 11-0 seed bead, two colors of super duos for this particular chain. Now, just a note, for those of you who don't like the super duo chain, maybe it's too thin, maybe it twists. I tested it, it worked fine for me. I didn't have a problem with it, but if you want a different chain, I made this one as well. So this is that 2-bead herringbone that's embellished with pearls, and I made this to go with this one. So I will link the video where I make this chain in the description box below this video. So in case you want to do you know, this type of chain, you can do this as well. You can do any chain you like, but if you're going to do this chain, you'll need 8/0 seed beads and enough to make a whole necklace. Okay, so put that aside. We've got a toggle clasp, a couple of jump rings. These are 6mm jump rings. I've got some stop beads, size 10 beading needle, size 12 beading needle, 8-pound Fireline black satin. Several of these beads are from that Ethereal Opal collection, so if you have that collection, pull it out, you know, and use those beads. All right, so I think that's everything. As usual, everything is listed in the description box below the video. Sizes, colors, shapes, amounts, everything you need. Anything I forgot, coupon codes for anything that I have a coupon code for, so please don't forget to check down there because there's so much information down there. All right, so I'm going to clear this off and we'll get started. Okay, let's start with the 25mm round cabochon. So thread your needle with about 4 feet, maybe a little bit more, of Fireline. Put a stop bead on right in the middle because we'll use half that thread for the back, the other side, and half the other side. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to pick up 62 Delicas. Now I have alternated my colors. You can start with either one, the gold or whatever color you want. So I started with the green, and gold, green, gold, and such. So until I had 62 on, and I counted to make sure. Now in the previous video where we did this, you know, we did a lot of measuring like this to make sure that everything was, you know, went around properly. So if you need a primer on that, just go to the link in the description box below the video. So here I'm going to sew this into a circle. I'm just going to sew up the first bead after my stop bead, just like that. Okay, we're going to do a standard peyote bezel. So I'm exiting my green bead here, whatever bead you're exiting. You're going to pick up, I'm picking up a gold bead. I'm going to skip the gold, coming out of the green, skipping the gold, sewing through the green. It's going to put my first bead on, and that's going to sit on top of the gold bead. Now, when you alternate colors like this, you know that every time you're picking up a gold bead, you're just going to sew through the green. Or if you're just doing all one color, you're exiting here, skip a bead, sew through the next bead to get your peyote bezel. So just like that, make sure they pop on. Gold bead, sewing through the green one, just like that. You can do that all the way around. Don't let it buckle, just keep it nice and snug, but you know, the beads right next to each other. All right, so get to the end and then come back and we'll step up together. Okay, I'm down to the end and I'm putting my last bead on, so I'm picking up a gold bead. I'm exiting the green one, going to skip the gold one. I'm going to sew through the green one and then the gold one on the diagonal. Like that, to step up so I can put some more beads on. So just like that. All right, let's do another round. So now I'm going to use my green Delicas. I'm exiting the gold, picking up a green. I'm just going to sew through every sticking out gold bead. So just like that. And you'll just continue that all the way around. And then meet me at the end and we'll step up. Okay, just a note, as I'm going around, I'm holding my thumb on the edge here as I put my beads on at this point, and you can give it a little pull. You don't have to pull it tight, just enough so that everything sits nicely. And just like that, and just hold the thumb there, you know, gently. All right. Okay, we're back. So we've got this nice little circle going. So I'm going to leave this thread now with the needle on it because we're going to get back to it. And I'm going to take my stop bead off and thread a needle with that thread. And I'm going to put some 15-ohs on this side. So this is going to be the front of my bezel here. And we may add another row of Delicas on the back, or we may not. And we'll look at that in a minute. So when I take my stop bead off and thread my needle, see I'm exiting this green bead here. So you just want to get to the outside. So to do that, you're just going to sew through the gold bead. Now I'm exiting on the outside there so I can add some beads on. I'm going to pick up a 15-oh. And I'm just going to add a 15-oh between each sticking out bead, which is that gold Delica, like this. And as I do this, I'm pulling it a little bit. I'm sort of pulling inward a little bit. So kind of like this. And then just making sure that it kind of curves a little bit. Again, you don't have to muscle it too much. Just make sure the bead's sitting there and it's starting to curve a bit. So just like that. So you're going to do this all the way around and then we'll step up. Okay, time to step up. So here I'm exiting the gold bead, the gold Delica, picking up my 15-oh. I'm going to sew through the next gold Delica and then that 15-oh on the diagonal. And I've stepped up. Give that a nice little pull. Make sure everybody's curving. Now you're going to put one more round of 15-ohs on. So I'll just let you go off and do that. So just a 15-oh. In between each sticking out 15-oh. Okay, I've come down to the end. I'm going to put my last bead on. So exiting this 15-oh, I'm going to pick up a 15-oh, sew through the next 15-oh and then the one on the diagonal. And if you need a smaller needle size here, by all means use a size 12 beading needle. Now I'm going to add one more round of 15-ohs. This is going to be the front of my bezel. But you can, if you can put your stone in and you'll just hold it there and see, am I going to want another round on? I think I will, so I'm going to go ahead and add one more round. You can, if you don't want to do that, just wait and we will start on the other thread in a minute. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this round, step up, still leave the thread on, and then we'll continue. Okay, so I've got my front pretty much done, and depending on how round your stone is, the thickness, thinness, like I'll just show you a couple, and I go through this in depth in the original video. Look at the difference between this 25mm cab and this one. So you have to adjust your bezel to fit those. See that? So this one's much flatter than this one. So what you want to do, this is what I found works for me, is at this point I'm just going to put my stone in face down. This is the back of my bezel here. And if you notice that my edge of my Delicas come about to the edge of my stone when I have it just laying in there. See that? If it's coming up a lot, you may have to add another round of Delicas. Like this one, which is going to be a real challenge to do because that looks like you'd almost add 2 more rounds of Delicas. So that would be a very challenging bezel right there. But with this one, I don't have to add another round. But if it's coming up enough that you can fit another Delica in there, then you want to put another round of Delicas on. So I'm just going to let you go and play with your stone, put it in, lay it in there, see how it looks, and then we'll come back and we'll start the this side. Okay, so I've finished this part of my bezel. I'm leaving the thread on. That's the front. Now I've gone to the other thread, taken off my stop bead, and I'm exiting this gold bead here. I just want to get to the outside beads, so I'm just going to sew through this green one. And again, see my stone is just about right. So what I'm going to do now, because I don't have to add any more Delicas, is I'm just going to start adding 15-0s. So exiting the green one, putting a 15-0 on, sewing through the next green one. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Just like that. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to step up, but I'll wait for you and we'll do that. We'll put the stone in and we'll step up and see how it's looking. Okay, so I've got my first round of 15-0s on the back. This is what it's looking like. Here's the front. Let's pop the stone in and see how it's looking. So that looks pretty good to me. I'm right on the edge. My 15-0s are starting to capture the stone. Front looks good. So all I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to keep adding rounds of 15-0s. So I'm just going to do that again. I'm going to leave the stone in and just hold it with my thumb and then just put on another round of 15-0s around the back. And you're just going to continue to do that. So when you're done with this round, you still will not have captured the stone completely. So you want at least 2 or 3 rounds of 15-0s on the back so it really holds that stone well. So I'm just going to let you go off and get those rounds done. And you could be pulling inward a little here. You still have the thread on this side, so you can pull this thread as well if you need. Oh, sorry, you still have the thread on this side, so you can use this thread by pulling it a little bit and tightening it up and then tightening this side. I like to go from side to side, but I'm just going to keep adding rounds of 15-0s until it feels nice and secure. So get that done and come back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back, and here's how my bezel looks, and it came out great. I have all my rounds on the back. I ended up sewing all my threads in. Sorry, I didn't film that part, but just, you know how to sew your threads and just sew through the beads on the diagonal. You can reverse direction a little bit and then clip your threads off front and back because we're going to add a thread to do the embellishment. So this is what it looks like. So thread your needle with about 2.5 feet of thread, put on a stop bead about in the middle. So just going to find a Delica to go through to start our embellishment. So I'm going to use these gold Delicas here, and I'm going to count back 1 here. So I'm going to sew through this Delica, and the only Delicas I'm going to sew through are going to be just all these gold Delicas all the way around, just this in this line. So I'm going to sew through one of the Delicas, and that's my stop bead. It's going to stop it halfway through because we're going to go from one direction. And then we're going to go the other direction. So what we're going to do is going to pick up a 15-0, either a pearl or I'm using a rondelle, and a 15-0. I'm exiting the gold Delica. I'm going to skip the next one. So these are the ones we're working with. Skip this one and sew through this one. Like that. And that's going to be actually the top of my pendant. Right? Now, I'm exiting this gold one. I just want to get to the next gold one, but I don't want to thread here. So I'm just going to sew through the green one on the diagonal, like that, and then through the gold one, like that. And I'm going to pick up 3 15-0s. I'm going to sew through the other side of the Delica. I'm exiting. So putting on a little peacoat now. Then I want to get to this next gold one. So I'm going to sew through this green one. And then the gold one. I'm going to pick up a 15-0, my rondelle and a 15-0. Exiting this gold one, skip this gold one, sew through the next one. I'm going to advance to get to this Delica, sew through the green one, and then the gold one. I'm going to add the picot. 3 15-0s, sew through the other side of the bead. I'm exiting. Make sure it picots, and so on. So sew through the green one, then through the gold one, picking up a 15-0 rondelle and a 15-0, exiting this one, skip this one, sew through the next one. So you're just going to alternate that until you get close to the end, and then come to the other side. So stop a little bit before the center, because we're going to add something else in the center. And then you're going to do this and meet me down at the bottom, and then we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So when you come to the end, you're going to find that you'll have 2 of your picots right here, and then not enough room to put in one of these. So what we're going to do, and I'll show you on this one, is we're going to add the 13 by 18 millimeter right there in between those two, see, in between the 2 picots. So you should, this is perfect. You want to just be like this, and you're going to leave these threads, because then we're going to bezel this guy, and then we're going to attach it just like that. All right, so get to that point, and this is what it should look like. Your threads should be coming out of these, let's see, yes, these 2 gold Delicas on the bottom, and you'll have 2 picots here with a space right here. So get that done, and then come back, and I'll get you started on the 13 by 18 millimeter cabochon bezel. Okay, let's do the 13 by 18 millimeter. So this is the one I am going to put on the necklace, and I was playing with it because it wasn't quite working out. It was challenging me a little bit. So I played with it 3 or 4, I did it 3 or 4 times and finally got it. So I thought, okay, let me leave it, and then for the I'll just use another one. So this is also from Eureka Crystal Beads. So the same thing, just a different color. All right, so thread your needle with about 3 feet of thread. Put on a stop bead, and right in the middle, just like we did before. So I'm going to pick up and drop down to my stop bead 40 Delicas. Now, sometimes with an 18 by 13, you can do 38, but I tried 38 and I was happy with the 40. So here we go. I'm going to sew those into a circle by sewing through the first bead after my stop bead. And I'll show you the fit. So when I put it around my stone and I just let it just relax, the beads fit just about perfectly. So we're just going to start our peyote bezel, just like we did with the other cab. So coming out of the blue one, skipping the next one, sewing through the following one, or green one. Putting that bead on again, just picking up the gold, because I'm alternating, just sew through the green. So you're just doing the same exact thing we did before. So do that all the way around, and then meet me at the end and we'll step up. Okay, coming to my step up, so here I'm exiting the green one. I'm going to skip that gold one, and I'm going to sew through the green one, and then the gold one on the diagonal, just like we did before. And now I'm going to add another round of Delicas, so I'm going to go for my green, picking up a green, going through every sticking out Delica, which is my gold one, So do that all the way around and then step up and we'll go. Okay, let's put on our last green Delica. Grab one. So I'm exiting the gold. I'm going to sew through the next gold one and then the green one on the diagonal. I'm just holding it on my finger now just because it's easier to sew. I'll give it a little pull. And that's what I have. So I found for this particular cabochon, I needed another round of Delicas. I did on this one anyway. And it's the same size, so it should be the same for this one, but you never know. So I'm just going to start with another round of Delicas. So just the gold Delicas. And that's how cabs differ. You know, some of them need, 2 or 3 rounds of Delicas. Just depends on how the fit is. All right, so I'm just going to put another round of Delicas on and then meet me at the end and we'll step up. Okay, we're back and this is how it looks. So we have lots of Delicas. We've got our 2 rounds of 15-0s. I'm going to pick up my stone. I'm going to put it in like that. And if you notice, I'm just about right at the edge there of my stone. So I really did need the 3, the extra round of Delicas. That's what the front looks like. So what we're going to do now, I'll just leave the stone in there, is we're just going to put our 15-0s on the back now. So I'm exiting this green one. Just want to get my thread to the outside round of beads, and then I'm just going to put 2 rounds of 15-0s on, and I'll just start here, pulling in a little bit. You don't have to pull it, too tight. So I'm just going to put these on all the way around. I'm going to step up and do another round and then see how it looks. If it's nice and strong and it feels secure, I'll leave it at 2. You can add another, you can add a Charlotte, anything you like to get it nice and secure. So get that done and come back and we'll continue. Okay, we're done and it came out just fine. My 2 rounds on the back worked out perfectly, so it's looking really good. I'll just show you real quick how I sew in my threads. So here, let's do this top thread. I'm exiting a 15-0. I'm just going to sew on the diagonal through this 15-0 and then through this Delica. So just on the diagonal till I get to the Delicas. And then, let's see, go through this Delica. And then I'm going to reverse direction. So here I'm exiting here. I'm just going to go right up through the Delica that's right next to the one I'm exiting in reverse direction. And then on the diagonal again, and again, and so on. And you can do that as many times as you like, and then you could reverse direction again until it feels nice and strong and secure. Do that with the other thread, and then come back and we'll make a necklace out of this. Okay, let's sew the 2 cabs together. So I have this one here, and I've got these 2 threads coming out. Remember, of those gold Delicas down here. So I have 1 thread coming out of this one and 1 thread coming out of this one. Hope you can see that. Let me just pull in super tight. Okay. So here I'm coming out of this one and this one. I'm just going to pick up 15-0, Rondelle 15-0. I'm going to find a place to sew on this guy. I have to move this up so this will focus. There we go. So I'm going to find the center right here. I'm going to come through this one in the back, so this green one. And I'm just going to sew through like that. So let me pull out so you can see my attachment. Okay, so I'm just pulling through like that. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, Rondelle 15-0, and I'm just going to sew through the bead that the other thread is coming out of, and you'll see it as you go. So it's this one right here, so that it attaches like so. And then I'm going to just move this thread over like so, and then I'm going to take the other thread, which is coming out of the other gold Delica, which is right here. So this one, And I'm just going to follow my thread path and come out the other side. So that's going to make it, it's going to reinforce it. Like that. Through the 15-0. Through the Delica on the small one. You'll see it. I know it's hard to see on camera, but you'll see. Just follow that same thread path through the 15-0, rondelle 15-0, and then back through this, the Delica that you started with. So you've just kind of crisscrossed your threads to get that on nice and secure, like that, and now you're done. So all you're going to do at this point is just going to sew in your threads. So you'll go around the Delicas and sew them in. If you feel you need to reinforce this again, just kind of weave your way around so you can do it again. But I think 2 full threads through there is pretty good. So I'm just going to move my thread. So again, here, I'll just go through the Delica like that. And you see the tighter, the more you pull, and the tighter it will get. And then start weaving through. And you can even weave through the back, just like we did before when we sewed the threads in. And make sure you sew them in nice and tight, reverse direction, so this guy stays and you don't have to worry about it. All right, so get that done, get it nice and secure, and come back and we'll start the chain. Okay, let's get started on the chain. So what we're going to do is make 2 pieces, and we're going to attach each piece here, and then you'll have the chain, the clasp at the end. So thread your needle with about 4.5 feet of thread, put on a stop bead. Leave about a 10 to 12, about a 10-inch tail, because you're going to use that. The tail is going to be where we're going to be attaching. So we're going to put the beads on, and then we're going to put the clasp on, and then we're going to come back down again, and then we'll attach everybody here. So I've just done a sequence of 11-0s and super duos. So start with an 11-0, and then add your super duo, 11-0, super duo, etc., until you have whatever number of that particular color that you want. Then I'm going to do a different, I did a gold, and then a green, and then a gold. You can do anything you like here. Just make sure you have an 11-0 in between each super duo. All right, so get your length done, and that's without the clasp. And then come back, and we're going to add the clasp on, and then come down the other side, and then we'll attach it to the pendant. Okay, so I've got all my super duos with an 11-0 in between on one side done. And now I'm just going to add the clasp on. So right now I'm exiting an 11-0, and the clasp, the toggle ring and bar go on exactly the same way. So I have an 11-0 here. My last group was gold. I'm going to pick up 5 more 11-0s. My needle, and here is my toggle bar. And what I did with this toggle bar is I wanted it facing this way. So I added a ring right here. So that's a 6mm jump ring, I believe. I just put it on there. So I'm just going to make sure my piece is straight, like that. I'm going to come through the ring. So I have my 5 beads on. Just pull them through, like that. And then I'm going to go through the other side of that top super duo. Like that. And that's going to make a little loop at the top. You want to pull this nice and tight, and you want to make sure the ring is inside the beads and not on the thread. So do you see I'm pushing it in a little bit? Now before I go on, I'm going to reinforce this. I'm going to come back through this super duo, like that, and through all the beads. There should be 6 of them there. I guess it doesn't matter if there's 5 or 4, whatever fits, I guess, makes a nice ending for you. So I'm going to pull. I'm going to come back down through the super duo again, like that. And you want to pull it nice and tight. And you can go through again if you like. So go through again, come out of the super duo here. And then all we're going to do at this point is add an 11-0 in between every super duo to come down to finish the chain on the other side. So you have this part, straighten these out a little bit, where the the clasp is attached, it's kind of separated because we've gone around a few times, and that way this is nice and secure. It's not going to pull out. So then just keep adding 11 O's here until you get down to the end, and then we will attach this to the pendant and we'll be done. All right, see you. Okay, we're back. So I've already sewn one side on, so it's the same for both sides. So here, what you will have are 2 threads. So I have a needle on each end, and you have, and your last beads are 11 O's. So the way we're going to do this is actually we're going to do it from the back. So let me just put this over here. And then I have, make sure your piece is straight. And we're going to sew this piece. Let me see if I can get myself organized. There we go. That's better. And let me pull in a little bit. Okay, so this piece, this we're going to take this thread and we're going to sew through these 2 Delicas that are behind this picot. So see the 2 green Delicas right here? So I'm just going to go through one. Like that. And then I want to go get through the other one, which is right here, but I'm going to go through this little 15-0 first. And then I'm going to go through this Delica right here. So similar to the way we attached the cabochons. Okay, so I have that there. Then I'm going to pick up my other thread and I'm going to do the same thing. So here my thread is coming out, my other thread is coming out of this green one. So we're going to go right through this green one. Make sure you don't get caught, your thread's caught. Let me just check. I feel like that might be caught. Come here, you. Let's see. Yes. Okay, there we go. So just don't get caught on anything. So there we go. So now I've just gone through the green one. I'm going to go through that 15-0. Okay, and then through the other green one. It's going to get us both threads coming out. You know, we've kind of switched sides again. So here we're coming out of that one's coming out of this Delica, this one's coming out of this Delica. Going to give it a pull, and you're going to, at this point, you can reinforce it again, but this is pretty tight. I'm going to just start going up the 11 O's and the super duos just to get the thread up here a little bit. And this is where we're going to tie some half-hitch knots. But first I'm just going to take each thread and just go up the 11 O's and the super duos. You know, pop out. I just go up a few and then pop out of one. Get caught on my picot like that. And you're pretty much connected. Let me just turn it over so you can see what it looks like on this side. So here we have both our sides, you know, our pieces connected like so. Okay, and what you'll do with this, you can work from the front now, is you're just going to sew through a few more super duos with one thread, come around and then go up again, tie some half-hitch knots, sew through 11 O's and super duos here, go around the super duo. So let's say you come out here, go around, come back up, sew up, just so it's nice and secure, and then come back and we will finish up. Okay, we're back and we're done. So here are our necklaces, and I think they both came out really pretty. Love them both. So I want to thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.